So I'll call this meeting to order at 12:09. First item is any declarations of conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Hearing none, we'll move right along. Hi, Doug. How are you? We just called the meeting to order here. So we have a agenda in front of us today, mainly talking about the event. We still have a little bit of follow-up as well, the review of the recommendations, and then Lauren has already circulated some information about 2 mental health initiatives she was looking into for us. So we'll get her to talk about that as well. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as circulated?
Aye.
Moved by Lauren, a seconder. Yee. Okay, great. Thank you. Motion for the agenda to be approved has been passed. Move on to the approval of the minutes. Minutes were circulated, and I've had an opportunity to look at them. They seem to be well done and have captured our last meeting. Does anyone have any changes they'd like to make to the minutes? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as circulated. Made by Lauren, a seconder, please. Made by Talupa this time, thank you. Motion to approve the minutes is passed. Moving right along to the event discussion. Thank you, Doug, for your work in the comms plan for this. The committee appreciates that, and it's a great launching point for us to get some information filled in there. Doug, just to keep you informed, at the outset of the committee meeting, I had mentioned that I think we're going to look at having another meeting that's devoted just to this event, perhaps in person, if we can arrange that. If we can't, we can find a place to do that if possible. I just think we need to have everyone together and on the same page of how we're going to go about this. So I'll reach out to you, Doug, and perhaps we can circulate something and schedule something with the committee. So I'm looking at this, the comms plan that Doug had forwarded along. Again, very well done, and I think it's a great guide for us. What I guess the first thing, or what we should be doing, is talking first about our speakers, and then kind of going down that list, seeing what we can accomplish today or what needs to be done, and then at least we know for our next meeting that will happen the next 2 weeks, I would say, what more needs to be done and who needs to do what. So basically, from our last meeting, we have had we've gone out and asked some speakers to be confirmed or to be at our speaking at our event. We have confirmed those 4 speakers, being Emma has confirmed with Logan Duran. I've confirmed with Fifth Wave. I just spoke with Fifth Wave today, actually, and they had mentioned that it may not be both of them that are able to attend. It might just be one of them if they're a partnership. So they're just trying to figure out their schedules and then are going to let us know. So as soon as I'm going to follow up with them early next week to ask which representative is going to be there. And then that way we can include them on that promotional material that Sam had circulated. We also, Lauren has confirmed with Mary Beth Campbell from Luxury Market. And finally, we've also confirmed one of the Startup Zone had asked that we, if we could include one of their entrepreneurs in residence as part of this event. and they've identified Daniel Ogabu. I probably butchered that last name. Apologies, Daniel. But he has a company, ASDA, and it's a youth and student focused company, and he's a resident at the Startup Zone right now. So that is that the speakers, those four, the slate of the four speakers have been confirmed. Now, I know, Lauren, you had asked a question about adding a speaker, and I guess from my kind of perspective on it, at this point, I mean, I'm almost leaning towards just keeping it at the four, to be honest. And the reason for that is I think we want to be able to have an event where we're kind of getting people. These people aren't going to talk for very long. We want to kind of coincide with our tables that we're setting up with the different themes. And kind of other thing, Lauren, I guess, was it's the other company, I believe, is another kind of clothing company as well, and I just thought it might be not as wouldn't add as much, I don't think, as we're looking for. I'm open to other members of the committee, but was there a particular, was Mary Beth kind of saying I only want to do this if someone else is involved, or she just kind of reached out and said, can I add someone else in there, Lauren?
No, the situation was Mary Beth never got back to me.
Okay.
So I had no one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, and I also remember we talked about, getting someone who hasn't had much exposure, and Little Black Dress is new and she's also female on her own. And so I reached out to her and she confirmed right away. So
Okay.
I did confirm with her. And then only recently, like much later, Mary Beth said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But I'd already confirmed with Little Black Dress because I'd emailed, I had messaged, like I'd tried to contact Mary Beth multiple ways and I just hadn't heard back, and there was only so much I could do. Like I didn't want to badger her. So,
yeah. Okay.
So I confirmed with Little Black Dress because I hadn't heard from Mary Beth. But then recently she said, yeah, I'll do it. So
yeah.
I guess the problem is that I confirmed with Little Black Dress, but so obviously it would be her that would be in the event.
Okay. Yeah.
But I just didn't know if we could add someone as well. I didn't get back to her. She's just kind of waiting, I guess.
So I think, I guess, Lauren, thanks for that explanation. I kind of thought it was the other way around. So that makes more sense to me now. So what we'll certainly do is have Sam change the promotional materials to have Little Black Dress instead of the luxury market. I would say, I think my advice, Lauren, and if anyone else has anything different they'd like to add, I think you'd probably get back to Mary Beth and just say, thanks for your interest. Unfortunately, that fourth time slot has been filled by someone already. The committee needed to have a confirmation by a certain time or something like that, and then encourage her to come to the event, and tell her that there'll be other opportunities to partner with our group in the future, and that we appreciate her willingness to participate, and we'll find something down the road that we can partner with her on.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you. And then thank you also for taking the initiative of trying to find someone else to replace her. That's great. And you know what? You're right. I have just seen the Little Black Dress. So and I didn't know that business existed until I saw it on the sign a couple days ago. So great. Tulupe, you have your hand up there.
Yes. I just wanted to ask for the name of the person that owns the Little Black Dress for the minute.
Yes. Let me just see here. Sorry, I'll grab her name. It's in my email. It was in my email. Actually, Sorry, I'm just gonna grab it. Just make sure I get the. It's Shauna Perry. I can also. I'm going to be sending something else along regarding the municipal mental health, so I can also write her name in as well, just to confirm the spelling and everything.
Yeah. And if you want to include her email address in that too, Lauren, that'd be great.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Great. Okay. Okay, so what I will make, so yeah, what we'll do is once we have that name, I'll send that to Sam to make sure that the promotional material gets updated. And then what I'm going to do is I'll gather all the email addresses of the speakers. I'll send them an introductory email thanking them for participating. That's when I'll also ask them to send us a photo of themselves so that then Sam can add that to the poster. So I'll reach out to Emma to get Logan Duran's contact information, and I believe Emma was also talking to the Startup Zone individual as well. So we'll get that email out to them as soon as possible. So they're all confirmed, and then we'll make sure that we get their photos, or if they want to provide a logo, or if they're not comfortable with the photo, we'll give them that option. Okay, so that's great.
Can I just hop in here?
Yeah, Doug, sorry.
You'll have to excuse me, my voice is lost, so I'm forcing it to make sound. So that first email, I think, just to make sure that the speakers are on the same page, I think we should be clear about kind of what the flow of the event will be like, and what we can expect, or what they can expect.
Yeah.
I know we had kind of hammered out, it might be too early, like we can just touch base, make sure they have the exact time and date, and that they can put it in their calendars, and then we can follow up in a few weeks with that information. But just because I know different people reached out to them, it might be good to just be like, here's what we're doing, just to kind of high level. You'll be at a table, will people be able to come up, and it'll be very informal. Because as far as I remember, there's no formal like PowerPoint presentations at the front for everybody listening to, right? It's kind of just like a drop-in sort of thing. So just making sure they know what to expect on that end would be useful.
Yeah.
And then we can follow up with more details as we kind of firm those things up.
And then maybe, Doug, what we'll do is perhaps me and you will just work on a draft of that email, and then we can then circulate that to them at the same time and get everyone on the same page, and at least get them to book it in their calendars, and we can say more information will be coming, but yeah, I think they would appreciate getting a good overview of what they're signing up for right at the outset.
Great. And what time? I couldn't find anywhere what time we had decided. Was it 6 p.m.? I saw that in the email, but I guess Sam would know because Sam's working at Startup Zone. Is that?
I think that when I was talking with Shelby from the Startup Zone, we had identified 6 as being kind of the doors opening time, and then we would play it by ear to see what our crowd was like at 6, and if it looks like we need to wait till 6:15 to get things rolling, then we would kind of do it that way. So I would say arriving, we would doors open at 6, let people mingle for the first 15 minutes, and then about probably about quarter after 6 is when we would start the introductions and go from there.
Okay, perfect. We'll add that to the comms plan.
Great. And Doug, I was even thinking this comms plan, would there be a way for us to drop this into the Google Drive as well? And then that way we can kind of edit on the fly as well.
Yeah, sure. Great.
Okay. So, all right, so we have the time set for that. So the next kind of item was the promotional material and the poster. Once we'll have our names confirmed, we'll have the photos or logo from the speakers. Sam will get that information. She'll pop it into the poster, and then from there we can then have our poster and then start looking at how we're going to promote this. The Facebook event and social media promotion. I know we had discussed this at our last meeting in terms of just because we don't really have our own account, we'd have to figure out the best way of promoting the event, having a place where the event could be created. Doug, do you have any suggestions on, is there a city account we can use, or should we be looking at our personal account, or what kind of resources do you think might be available from the city's perspective?
Yeah, I can check in with our comms department. I don't see any issue with using the city's official Facebook account to create the event and to just post and promote it. I know that the city's been responsible for promoting prior advisory boards events and initiatives. So
Okay.
I don't think there'll be any issue. It's just we have a new comms team, so they might be kind of wanting to. They might have other recommendations or other ideas, but it won't take me long at all to get an answer on that. So,
Okay, great.
but I would say expect that we can use the city's Facebook account to create the event. And if it's just a question of having like an Eventbrite sign up, that way it's kind of directing you there, and we can kind of use that as the main platform. We can share whatever. Like that's also something we can set up. I know the city has a corporate Eventbrite account we can use.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so we'll find out. We'll get confirmation that we can use the city's platform to create our Facebook event. Then I foresee once our Facebook event is created, we're then able to share it on our personal pages, invite people. You can invite people from the Facebook event to whoever you want to invite to it. As well, we'll have I think we budgeted a little bit of funds for promotion as well, and we may want to do a targeted ad that we could do as well for that. The next items on that proposed timeline would be getting posters to businesses and things like that. I think that's a great idea to have some around town in some key areas. I'm sure as well we would ask the businesses that are participating, Fifth Wave and Black Dress being the two that have a downtown presence, if they would be willing to put a poster on their door to advertise the event, things like that. And I think once we have a poster, we'll be able to kind of tackle that. Same thing with the promotional, the dealing with the media as well. There actually was an article in The Guardian about our event already, a little premature. However, it was a reporter had viewed my presentation to the Strategic Priorities Committee, and then kind of went on their own to do an article on that. They hadn't reached out to us directly on it. They just kind of took the information from what I presented to City Council or the councillors on that committee, and then did an article on that. So it's out there. Which is great. Any promotion's good promotion when it comes to this sort of thing. But I think we would have liked to just had a little bit more control over it, especially when we still had some moving parts yet to be confirmed. So there already was one article, but we certainly are going to hope that we can get something else done on that, and then go from there. Yi, you have your hand up.
Yes. I like to say something about that promotion material directed to young people. So PI government has a page on that information, but I would like to say, except for that page, do we have a plan to attract more youth to Charlottetown. So I think that would be an important thing for us to attract and retain the youth in Charlottetown.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that point itself, it goes more towards the work we're doing with the recommendations and the review of the recommendations.
Yeah.
I think for this conversation, we're kind of focused on promoting the event, but absolutely we need to be looking at ways of promoting Charlottetown as a destination for young people to come and live and stay here. And I think once if we can certainly revisit that when we're discussing the review of the recommendations from our previous committees, because one of those surveys that we're looking at the recommendations from was a youth retention survey. It was a survey asking folks, why are you leaving Charlottetown, or why don't you want to live in Charlottetown? So that conversation, I think, is certainly something we can discuss, and I think it fits very well in what we're doing with the review of the recommendations. So a great point, and we will we'll look at that a little further as we proceed down the agenda here.
Yeah, because I think the result we want is to have more youth to come to Charlottetown. So that would be good to find the reason why the youth leave from Charlottetown. But also we need to think about the plans or activities to attract more youth to Charlottetown.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's not just about getting people here, it's about wanting to get them to stay, and I think that's a big point. So moving a little, so kind of jumping back to the event here and the promotional. So once we have I'm thinking once we have that poster completed, it will translate that to a Facebook event. We'll be able to share that at a Facebook event. We'll be able to share that poster. I'd like to, it'd be great once we have a few hard copies of that to put those in some high traffic areas downtown. Like put them at the coffee shops and things like that. From there, a lot of the other items on our list would be gathering the honorarium gift cards. So Emma's going to be responsible for getting the Canada Food Island gift cards that we're going to give to the speakers. We're going to be looking at confirming someone who's going to be playing live music at the event during the mixing parts of it. We'll have someone there who will be providing entertainment. I'm certainly open to suggestions on who we would like for that. Ideally, a young person who lives in Charlottetown would be what we're after, and someone who is just used to that sort of event where they can sit and play acoustic music and we can, and are reasonably priced too, I think is the other thing we want to keep in mind. You have another question?
Yeah, about the music. Can we try to reach out to UPI students study in the Faculty of Music? I think that would be a great idea to have them to play music there if they have if they are available to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So why don't I'll look into who the best person to contact at the Faculty of Music is. I'll say we're looking for someone.
I think I can do that because I'm working at UPI now. So I will email the person who take charge in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess in your email to the I think we'd want to make sure that it's, yeah, like probably someone who's going to play. I mean, I'm partial to a guitar. I think is probably what we're looking at in terms of an
Okay.
instrument. So if you want to reach out to them and see if they have a student who's just looking at getting some more experience, that might be a great way of doing that. And of course we have some funds that we're willing to pay as well. But if they're looking at getting experience, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so how long will that music?
Probably, I would say we'd want them for 2 hours, from 6 to
hours.
8 is probably what you would want to suggest to them, and see if someone's available for that.
Okay.
That might be
do
a
they
little long.
Yeah, well, we
Sorry.
need them for the full time, but they wouldn't be playing the full time. I
Okay,
guess,
perfect.
is
So
the-
they would
yeah.
be kind of doing like
Right.
2 30-minute sort of.
Yeah, that's
That
yeah.
might
Sorry,
be more.
I should have. Yeah, wouldn't be the full hour. Wouldn't be. We need them at the event for the full 2 hours, but they wouldn't be playing for full 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, a couple sets or something too. Yeah, even 3 20-minute sets or whatever they want to do. We'll leave it up to them, but yeah, certainly we'll want them in the event for that period of time, and then yeah, we're not expecting them to. That would be they'd be pretty tired at the end of that, I think. So we'll leave that with you, Yi, and let us know how you fare out.
Okay.
And can I ask you too, could you CC me on that email? I would love to know who the contact there is.
Okay, no
just 'cause,
problem. I will CC you.
That'd be great.
Great.
Just maybe on this note, sorry, I know you're about to speak, Lucas.
That's
I
okay.
was wondering if we could maybe brainstorm just quickly a bit of ideas around promotion. Like to me, typically there's the Facebook event, there's the posters, but I don't know the context here super well. I don't know if anybody else has any insight on what other ways people typically find out about events. Like, you know, the Buzz deadline is coming up this week, so I don't think we would be able to get anything in time for that.
Mhm.
But we could send them just like text, like copy. They wouldn't do an advertisement per se, but they would just do a little quick write-up if we have the time and date of that event. So I'm just wondering if anyone else can suggest any other ideas for how we can get that out. Please let us know.
Yes, yeah, I think I was going to suggest the Buzz. I realized, yeah, the deadline is approaching, but yeah, even if we could get on there what's coming up in the community blurbs that they have, we don't need an ad, but just more or less, this is happening at this time, this place. I think that's would be a good idea. Let me think of anything else.
If we use a student musician from UPEI, is there a way that they could? I'm not 100% sure, but the music, what is that called? Like they could promote, like their student is playing. I don't know if that's an angle we could use for UPEI to come and support students. UPEI.
Yeah, that's a good angle. And then I'm trying to think. Startup Zone. I think Startup Zone is also going to help us promote. We could reach out to Fusion as well to see if Fusion would be interested in promoting the event for us. I think we could also do some direct advertising to different, I guess, companies that are in Charlottetown as well. I'm thinking like if I was to send an email to some law firms in Charlottetown to say, please encourage your young lawyers to come, and then we could do the same with the accounting firms and also maybe the Chamber of Commerce would be interested in sending a note out to all their members. So I think that those sorts of things are also would probably be a good way of going about it. So, and then I think also Emma would probably someone who could help us with all that. I'm sure she's well versed in how to and where the best places to promote events in Charlottetown are. Tallulah, did I see your hand up a second ago?
I just wanted to mention that I could reach out to the student union
Okay,
to help publicize something to students.
excellent. Yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, sorry about that.
Is there a Holland College student union or something we can?
There is, yeah. Holland College does have a student union as well, so we could reach out to them.
I guess I can. Someone just moved from UPI Student Union down there, so I kind of like have a contact. I can reach out to her and ask maybe who exactly to go through. I think she's
Okay.
like an admin staff, so she can like direct me into the right person.
Okay,
So we
so
can say, Tallulah, you'll take care of the UPI student union. Like this will obviously be in a few weeks once we have all the promo material. Once we'll have like a boilerplate email that we can draft up, and then maybe we can just leave some. I know Lucas, you mentioned the law firms, accounting firms. You would know those, and the chamber. You must know like Sam and everyone.
Yeah.
So you might be the best person to reach out to them. And then in terms of companies, is anyone comfortable like sending that email out to just kind of other companies? Like we don't have to send it to everyone. I'm just thinking like Downtown Charlottetown Inc. or some of these other groups.
yeah, and even if we could get if Discover Charlottetown could put something on there, could post something too, I think would be great for us as well. I don't have any contacts there, but I'm happy to reach out to them, and I can do that.
I can do the Discover. I can reach out to Heidi there.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's good. That's a good kind of some outside of Facebook advertising that we can do. So that's good. The food and drink. So Emma has been in touch with Merchant Man. They're going to be providing us with a cash bar on site, as well as they did circulate their hors d'oeuvre menu or their appetizer menu to us as well. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is just leave that to Emma to kind of work out. It's what she does for a living, so we can tell her to come up with the best plan for the food and kind of let her run with that. I'm comfortable with that if everyone else is. I'm sure she'll be able to deal with that. And then really that we're gonna have to speak with Startup Zone on some setup requirements. I'll check in with them to see if there's a microphone, and if there's no microphone, we'll have to discuss if we need one or what we want to do with that as well. If it is going to be kind of informal introductions and things like that, we may not. I don't really want to spend money on a micro like sound if we don't have to. So we'll just check in with the Startup Zone, see what they have available, and if not, we might just ask people to use their loud voices, and we'll just tell people to quiet down when someone's talking. Okay, so that is a good overview of the event. I know that there's still definitely some things to be confirmed, but I think if we just work through that list that's been provided by Doug, we can get all these things done. First and foremost, I think we're gonna deal with our speakers and get them all on the same page, and then get the actual promotional materials finalized. I think those are the those are the two pressing items. And then once we have speakers in place and promotional material in place, we then can then jump in and start promoting more heavily. And then also I think lots will fall into place at that point. Okay, does anyone have anything else they want to add about the speakers? Or sorry, about the event?
I did want to ask, so just because I haven't talked to Shauna for a bit from Little Black Dress, so maybe I'll just tell her that you're going to be emailing all of the speakers shortly and asking for a headshot, and you will be telling them. I already told her how the event kind of will go, but you'll be just updating, confirming time and stuff.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I'll give her, yeah, you can just tell her that she can expect an email from me with more details and what we'll need from her and all that sort of thing.
Okay. And also I was just wondering, when you said to like this will be later, but promoting the event to businesses, will we be sending them the poster kind of and just explaining the event? Is that what we would do for contacting other businesses? And
Yeah, I would say that we would reach out first, probably. I mean, if it makes more sense to just go to the business and say, hey, can you put this poster up? That to me makes sense as well. So I think just once we have the promotional materials, whatever your comfort level is with contacting businesses, for the most part, like when I think of like receiver or something like that, I think probably the best thing would be to just show up with a poster and say, hey, can I put this up, rather than sending an email when it might not get to the person or so I think that's probably what we'll do, is we'll just make sure that we have the option. You can email them if they have a big social media presence, maybe that's the best way of doing it. But if they're more of a store downtown that wants to have a poster, I've always had success just showing up and saying, hey, look, this is what's happening. Can we leave one of these and have you put it up? So I think that'll work.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so I think I think we'll just park the discussion on the event for right now. And what we will do is move on. I see that it's 1:45 now. I think what we'll do is we'll go we're going to skip discussion item B for the time being and move to C, which is those 2 mental health recommendations or I guess initiatives that Lauren was looking into. Lauren, I just want to make sure we get this today, and so we're not going to make you do this work and then not talk about it today. So Lauren, if you want to just take us through what you were looking at and explain a little bit about it, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, so I went over quite a few our last meeting or two, and the 2 you were interested in focusing on was Saskatchewan Prince Albert Homelessness Action Initiative and the Yukon Whitehorse First Supervised Consumption Site. So that I looked more into, for the Prince Albert one, Homelessness Action Initiative, I looked into the Government of Canada Reaching Home program, which is what it was funded by. And there's a lot of information. I think I sent it in an email as well, but it also an email how to apply for it. But basically, there's 5 to 6 categories of eligible activities and expenses that are grouped within this, such as like housing, shelter, health and medical services, client support services, capital investments, coordination of resources, and data collection. So there's a bunch of different things, and under each of those categories are eligible activities that they can do for people, and then ineligible activities. And then it said also that community advisory boards are responsible for setting direction for addressing homelessness in the community. and it is expected to coordinate efforts to address homelessness in a community. So I thought that that was interesting because that's, I guess, kind of under us in a way, that we would be responsible for this and maybe like starting an initiative of it. Yes, so that was the Government of Canada Reaching Home program. Yeah, there's a lot of information how to apply for it. And it says the community advisory boards and community entity are encouraged to work with local Service Canada representatives in the application of this directive.
Okay.
Let me see here also. Then I also looked into kind of how Prince Albert got this all together. And I think I also sent, it was like a page of how it all came together for Prince Albert and like the homelessness plan that they created in order to get this. And so what happened was they kind of, I'm trying to, so much writing. There was 3 different like things that came together. The Riverbank Development Corporation, which serves as an affordable housing provider. The Community Advisory Board, and the Prairie Wild Consulting Company, which is community and regional planning development and community-based research to help prepare communities for the future. So those 3 came together to assist the community entity to develop a plan for the community and homelessness. So they had an extensive community engagement process, which was like interviews. They had a city meeting and surveys, and those findings helped them write the community plan and work to show perspectives of addressing homelessness over the next 5 years. So that is how Prince Albert was involved, like in the city. So I guess that's like a quick, since we don't have much time, a quick like brief,
Yeah.
you know, the Government of Canada Reaching Home program, the funding for that, and then how the city of Prince Albert was involved. So how that all came together. And then going to the next one, the Yukon Whitehorse first supervised consumption site. So I looked at what other supervised consumption sites are in Canada, and there's very little, like in Atlantic Canada, literally pretty much none. Like there's many in Alberta, BC, Ontario. There's 4 in Quebec, 1 in Saskatchewan, but the first overdose prevention site in Atlantic Canada was in Halifax called Refix. And it was granted approval as an urgent public health needed site by the federal government. So that was the first one in Halifax. And then there was, I think, another one that just recently came together in Moncton called Ensemble. And they're not necessarily called supervised consumption sites, but they do similar things like overdose prevention and harm reduction services. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess just to add to the safe consumption site conversation, I don't know if you saw recently in the news, I guess it was probably, close to I think it was last month, late in March, the government of PEI confirmed their commitment to bringing a safe consumption site to the island. They've hired someone to look at how they're going to set it up. And they've set aside, I believe, an initial investment of only the initial investment was only about $250,000. And part of that money is going towards the salary of that individual. But where I think our committee can play a role in all of this would be to encourage city council to partner with the city on that initiative. Because one thing I've noted in I read the article the other day and just noticed that there wasn't really any mention of the city being involved in it at all. Presumably the safe consumption site would be in Charlottetown. And I think it's an opportunity for the city to be involved in that in some way. What I think we would do is come up with, I would probably think we'd write some sort of letter or write some sort of memo or what have you to the Strategic Priorities Committee and say, this is something that our committee was looking at. We believe that it would have a great impact in our community. We see that the province is committed to doing that, and we want the city to become a part of this as well, because we think it's something that should be, because we've seen other municipalities like Prince Albert, other municipalities like Whitehorse take this on and really implement it. So it should be a partnership between the city and the province, and I'm sure the city would be able to be able to allocate funds to it as well, if possible. So I think it's great that we're talking about it at this committee, because it's great to see that there is someone else talking about this out there. And then perhaps one of the things we could do is we could look at having that individual who the city hired to come speak to our committee, or to give us an update on what their plans are. So then we could identify if there are areas that the city needs to support, and then we can kind of be that voice to the city council to say, hey, this is something that you guys need to be looking at and looking at working with the province on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you be able to maybe send the article or
Yeah, absolutely.
email? Yeah, I would like to read it and.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll circulate that right after the meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, would you like me to start up a draft of writing something, like you said, to the?
Yeah, Lauren, if you want to take that on, absolutely. That'd be a great help for us. If you wanted to write a little bit about what we've seen and then what we think is missing in Charlottetown, and then we can certainly discuss that at our next meeting of how we want to approach this and deal with it as a priority.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Okay. So thank you, Lauren. And I think for this reaching home federal government piece, what I think I would be interested in knowing is, has the city ever looked at getting funding from this program? I see that there are designated communities, and that's kind of the way that it looks like the federal government would designate a community to receive funding, and then the funding kind of comes after there's been a designation of the community. Perhaps what we could do is look into whether the city has thought about this program or has applied in the past or has accessed funding through it somehow, and then if not, we can present that to them to say, hey, this looks like something that the city should be involved in, and it looks like there's dollars earmarked for this sort of work, and we should encourage them to look into it further.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep.
So thank you, Lauren, for looking at both of those. That's great. I'm just reminding myself to send that link for the article. Great. Okay. Well, I think we're approaching our 1 o'clock here. So, and I think we've had a go. Oh, hi, Doug.
I just want to iron out the time of our next meeting just before we hop off here. Would May 5th Thursday work for everyone here? And then I can send an email to check with Sam and
I'm just getting back from holidays then, Doug. So I probably wouldn't be available on the 5th. I would be available the lunchtime of the 6th on the Friday. But I'm traveling on the 5th, so won't be able to make that.
I am not available at the noon hour on the 6th, but if we could look at another time.
Yeah. Let me think.
We could do the following week as well. I mean, it might maybe earlier on in the week be better.
Yeah.
And then I could do something. If we're not 100% sure now, maybe I could just do like a doodle poll too and just find a time that works for the most people.
Yeah. That might be the best. Yeah, if you want to do that, Doug, I think that would probably be the best way to go about that.
Sounds good.
All right.
In person,
Thank you,
just
everybody,
answer.
for your contributions today. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Made by Lauren, a seconder by Yi. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. Okay. Thank you very much. And we'll be in touch for our next meeting, which will happen sooner than later. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Okay. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah.